Hello friends, today we are discussing part 1 of US election and we have taken consideration into some charts of say USA birth chart of 7th April 77 1776 and we have taken some birth chart of this Kamala Harris, Joe Biden and of course Mr. Trump. So now I will like to point out something for you guys. First thing, when we see the chart of this 4th July 1776 of USA, it's very important. As we all know, last time I hinted you all that I see some troubled times before election. And why I am seeing so? Because of this Mercury's position. This is very important on the election day itself, because it is a fast moving planet, this Mercury. And what it is doing? It is just stationing after a retrogression and going direct on that particular election day. So now it has to play a very important role. And again I am on the same thing. I don't see election happen on that day. So what can happen? And another three aspects are very important. If you see, Mars is expecting Sun. I am taking consideration Vedic astrology transits. It's not Western astrology. Please understand this. So Mars is expecting Sun. Mars is expecting Saturn. Natal Saturn is expected by Mars. I am taking consideration transits and natal position both. And Mercury is expecting again then Saturn. These three are very important aspects, and this is clearly showing me I am into it. Election, before election, some events will happen which may disrupt the election timing. Another very important thing is what? Solar eclipse is coming on 14th December. So now election is in November, but you know, we have some solar eclipse just passed in June, and this is a journey from one solar eclipse to another solar eclipse. So it plays a very important role, because election outcome and inauguration of president, oath taking of president, all is after that eclipse. So it is also very important. One thing which come in my mind, in my vision, after looking into the charts of Mr. Biden, Mr. Trump, one of the candidate may opt out forcefully or by any event. It is also a possibility. I don't know it happens before or not, but it is a possibility. I am seeing everything as per Vedic astrology charts. Now, this is what we are viewing from USA chart, because it is very important that what country chart is showing. Now we will move on to the Mr. Trump's chart. So what Mr. Trump chart is, he is running the Jupiter Mahadasha, and that Jupiter gave him last election win. So it is still the main dasha is of going of Jupiter only, but this time we give a lot of emphasis on Antardasha also in Vedic astrology. But this time Antardasha is of Saturn, which is in 12th house, and 12th house is house of the loss. And one very important thing in what I see in Mr. Trump's chart is this: Mars is placed in the 8th house, and we don't consider 8th house as a good house in Vedic astrology. So transiting Mars is coming in 8th house, which is very bad. He should take care of his health, or some sort of some sort of accident may happen to him. I am very sorry to say this, but I am just taking out the possibilities what is this chart is showing. And Rahu and Ketu returning, which is called nodal return. Rahu and Ketu returning to their natal positions. So, which is very good, because Sun is with Rahu in his 10th house. So that is Rahu is again returning to the Rahu, and then we see Moon and Ketu in 4th house. And now this 4th house is very important. 4th house is very important in a president's chart because it shows the nation. When it's very interesting, a very interesting fact is that the president charts and nation chart, you have to see both simultaneously. So what going on in Mr. President's chart in 4th house is reflected to the nation. So his 4th house is Moon and Ketu, and again Ketu is returning to the same things of what it indicates. Sometimes Ketu is indicating he if he don't get into the trouble, a person very nearby to him, maybe his family member will get into some trouble. Maybe he lose something, some relative or whatever it is. So it's Moon Ketu, that's indicating he may lose someone. There is a possibility of some bad event happening in USA. That can be a man-made, that can be a new natural, that could affect election. And again, I foresee some sort of protests. Like in past, we have seen that black protest. So some new protest, some new, even I can say, some riots, some loots, etc. As Mars is moving from Pisces to Aries and again from Aries to Pisces, I even can say some scandal or some scam, sudden shocking news which can cause a big damage to the election. That is also a possibility. Looking into Mr. Trump's chart and with this chart of USA. So I am not saying that Mr. Trump is losing right now. I am just taking the possibilities, what is going on in charts of Mr. Trump. And Pluto is going to play a very important role. Pluto is the planet which Western astrologer considered. We don't consider Pluto in Vedic astrology much, but our ancient sages have written a lot about this Pluto. So it is going to play a very important role in this election. That is what I foresee. Now if we come to the Mr. Biden's chart, he has some negative and positive points too. But he has played a master stroke by choosing Kamala Harris as a VP. And I am that sure some astrologer is guiding him because he has some Scorpio Lagna chart, and Scorpio Lagna people, they are very secretive and they do secret things which Mr. Biden is doing. We see some loss in his chart also because of Sun and Ketu transit. But he have a very good position of Jupiter which is exalted in 9th house. But that Jupiter is in retrograde position in transit. So it's losing his strength. So now his Saturn transit is also showing delay in results. So we are getting 3 points of delay, one from USA chart, one from Mr. Trump's chart, and one from Mr. Biden chart. So again I come to that conclusion ki let's see when this election will happen. Dates may change and that will change the whole scenario. Right now, because nothing is announced, so we are considering the election date as November 3. But that again, Mercury is retrograde station on that day. Now Mr. Biden chart he is also in the Jupiter Mahadasha. So Mr. Trump in Jupiter Mahadasha, Mr. Biden in Jupiter Mahadasha. But the difference is he is under Jupiter Rahu. Mr. Biden is under Jupiter Rahu. This is a powerful dasha. Transit of Mars is also very good. If you remember, I have said Mars is transiting in a bad house for Mr. Trump, but Mars is transiting as a good house in the fifth house in Mr. Biden's chart. It's very, very good. And why he has chosen Kamala Harris? Because of Venus. Venus position showing gain from female. And here comes the Kamala Harris in picture. That's why I'm saying he's guided by some astrologer. Why I'm saying so? Because Kamala Harris horoscope is again a very good horoscope. She is also into some very good transits, and I see this election later on. If later stages, it will be not Trump versus Joe Biden. It will be Trump versus Kamala Harris, because of similarities of some powerful combination in both horoscopes. So now, if we discuss Kamala Harris horoscope, one interesting fact I am telling you. Some past Kamala Harris horoscope is good on election day, but there is some catch. What is the catch? There is some shock awaiting for Mr. Biden and Ms. Kamala Harris. Why? Some past event may come haunt to her, as Mars, Saturn, Rahu is very closely activate her ascendant, which is called Lagna in Vedic astrology. Her chart is good on the election day, but before that election day in September or in October, her ascendant Lagna is activated by these malefic planets, Mars, Saturn and Rahu. They are very close to his ascendant. So maybe some news will disrupt her chart also. Again, I am coming to that conclusion that this chart is also afflicted by malefics. Joe Biden chart is also showing the same thing. Trump's chart is also showing the same thing, and USA horoscope is also showing the same thing. So how election will come on the same day? Mercury, Jupiter and Pluto aspect her 10th lord and aligning with her 11th lord. So if the election is on 3rd November, then we can say Mr. Biden and Kamala Harris together will score much than Mr. Trump. But here comes again a catch. I don't see election going on the same date. So what we conclude here is, we are not, still I am confused why this again and again these charts are showing the USA election may get disturbed by some event. So in part 2 we will discuss, when we go in later stages, what will happen if anybody is opting out or any event is going on, anything happens in election, anything disrupting elections. A lot of events is coming and lined up because of this Mars, Mercury and all this position. So this is a brief review what I am telling you. So then now it is very important how we connect it with the stock market. So for that we have done is we have given some levels to our clients. That levels are very important. There are planetary positions on certain levels on Dow Jones, Nasdaq, S&P and some stocks. We have taken the biggest stocks. So we have given them the levels. So how we are going to connect that? If that level did not get broken before the election, which I foresee they may. So at that time we will come to know what position we have to take. How we will take the position, whether Mr. Trump win, whether Mr. Joe Biden win, it doesn't matter for the stock market person. He has to take the position, and he has to take the position according to that levels. So that levels we are providing to our clients, and that level will give you a very clear picture कि how election how election will happen, and how market will take this, the win of whether it is Biden, whether it is Trump. So we have to connect the dots on that day, on 7 days before to that levels are very important, that are we are providing to our clients, and we have discussed in length with our clients what may happen. So it is a part one which I am concluding. I am still on this. A lot of events will happen before US election. We are entering into a war cycle. So I foresee, as we are connected with Indian market also, India is also entering into a war cycle, and USA has to play a very important role. So let me conclude in that way. We will give you the levels. If you are interested, you can mail me. I will give you that level. I will provide that sheet to you that will help you in taking the position. And we will, in second part, we will conclude who is going to win, because we have to see a lot of events before that. And let's see how we progress from here. But one thing is very clear: this election is going to be a very dramatic one. So let's see what happens. And next part we will tell you exactly who is going to win the election, because it's a $1 million question, and it will affect the whole world. It will affect the whole equity market. It will affect the commodities. So let's see, and let's hope for the best. This is all from my side, and we will meet soon. Om Namo Narayana.